We're at the Canadian International Auto Show to hear a discussion on cannabis and cars. Here's a recap of what our panelists had to say.
We have to stop being afraid about marijuana and driving and start looking at the science and the facts. And it shows that alcohol is a much bigger concern, and the increase in odds for getting in a crash from cannabis are equivalent to being a teenage driver, a novice driver. So it doesn't increase your crash rates that much.
I have published scientific articles that show marijuana does cause impairment. Marijuana does cause crashes, marijuana does cause fatal motor vehicle accidents. So we have to be aware and we have to educate the public that marijuana is an impairing drug. The impairment is much different from alcohol. Alcohol is physical. Marijuana impairment's really in the brain, in the thought process, judgment, reaction time, other things like that. And people just aren't aware when they smoke marijuana that they may be impaired. They may think they drive safely. They slow down. Yes, a lot of drivers do that, but still all their other functions are impaired.
Med Canada does believe that the legalization of cannabis will lead to more traffic collisions and fatalities. Based off the evidence that's available to us from Washington and Colorado, this is what happened there. We imagine it will happen here as well.
In our fatality data, we do show that we have more people that were fatalities related to impaired driving cannabis, but I also think that some of that is because our testing procedures are better. We didn't have a lot of strong data prior to legalization, so now there's really a push to get better data.
Policing is ready. We are doing training, extensive training right now in Ontario to ensure that all police services are ready, including the OPP, to ensure that we are able to combat drug-impaired driving should we see an increase of impaired drivers on our roadways.
Policing is switching over to a lot of drug-impaired driving work, and that's because they're not going to be doing as much marijuana possession law enforcement work. One of the great concerns, though, is that profiling is an issue with policing in general. And when drivers are being pulled over, the issue of racial profiling and even judging someone based on their appearance, there might be more of a tendency to go after people who are cannabis consumers, even though it's not actually a legitimate concern about the driving. It's more of a profiling and a stigma that's left after decades of prohibition.
Provincial legislation has been passed that does mimic the alcohol legislation, so there will be a zero tolerance in place for people that have THC in their system, for young and novice drivers and commercial motor vehicle operators.
That's it for this session. Join us tomorrow when the discussion is focused on the aging population and automobiles. See you then.